Flipping Nora Laura, I'm back, and we're making a part for the knuckle head. The original head has come just with a big boss on the end, and somewhere in the past someone's made an adapter that goes on the end with Allen keys, and then engages two dogs on the spindle. So this goes on your knuckle head and engages dogs in your spindle. It's a bit rough and ready, so what I'm going to do, I've taken the dogs out, slotted off the back of a piece of round stock, and I've cut a pocket the same size as the boss on the rotary table on my E-Speed. Now, having a big chuck on your rotary table is a massive advantage. So you don't just need the rotary table, you need a bogging decent sized chuck, because that's not a big piece, you know, it's only the palm of your hand, and yet there you go with a bog off chuck. That's an old one from a lathe, drilled through and tapped on. Okay, so now what I need to do on this piece, I've used the rotary table to get my radius at the end. You know, I brought the table across till I hit my measurement, and now I need to come into the corners because the diameter of the cutter doesn't get a good square cut like you see on the end here. It comes and it's pretty almost squares off, so I need to square that out, and I had a go at filing, which is possible, but I'm not a man of great patience, so I didn't get too far. So with that in mind, we've come to the ELT, put the slotting head on there, and we're going to run a cutter into those corners. So the first thing I'm doing is making sure that this has come all the way to its lowest point, and I'll do that with a dial gauge. So to find the bottom of the stroke, I'm cranking it by hand, and I've got a dial gauge that just sits right at the bottom of the slotting head slide. Okay, so it's as far down as it can be. It's going up. It's as far down as it can be. It's going up. So I'm moving both ways up and down, and I can see my dial gauge coming to its maximum down position. I can see that. That is as far down as it goes. So if I put my work in the vise now, and I put that cutter right in the pocket and run the machine, I shouldn't hit it. Dear God, please. If that's as far down as it can go, I should be able to drop this cutter into the pocket, touch off on the bottom, then the machine should bounce up and down without hitting the bottom, because if it does, it's a big oopsie. I'm going to bring my machine up. Usually I do this to a piece of fag paper, but today I'm not that brave. I'm going for a 20 thou shim. So that 20 thou shim is just getting tight. I'm going to back that off a little touch and lock the table, because when I lock the table it always moves a bit. So just touching the back. Now we're going to go along this way a bit. Okay, not sure what got cut off and what didn't. Battery went flat. But anyway, we're working our way this way. And we're getting right up in this corner and getting a sharp finish. We put a bit of blue on so we can see what's going on. And see where we're heading. So we've got right into that corner now where the radius of the cutter would not go. So I'm going to do all the other corners. I've cleaned off this side of the cutter only, so I'll have to do the other side of the cutter now. I'll have to trim away this side. I'll show you the... okay, so that there's my cutter. It's a piece of tool steel. It's brazed. I'll show you the other side. It's brazed onto a piece of mild steel, honed up on the end so it's real sharp on the corners. It's got a slight face relief and nose relief, and the flanks are relieved, roughly sort of 5 degrees. So I'm going to press on. I'm going to clean out the other corners now. Okay, we're in close. So bringing it off to touch on the back side. So it's touching on the back side. And I think the circular cutter's gone in there a bit. Table this way. I'm just going to let that run for a bit. Created some chips, looking square. Just let it keep going till it's lost all the spring in the tool. Wunderbar. So I'll just come out from there. Close, and we're on back gear at slower speed we can go. There be the knuckle. That's your piece that we've just finished off. The corners look nice and crisp. The thickness here allows clearance on this bearing so that when the thing's pushed up on the face it's not going to press on the bearing, and this thickness is the full engagement of the slot. There's about a very thin 20 thousandths here, and I just left that floor in just to prevent chips going the wrong way. So we're in, we're looking good. I did cheat. I got a little engraving tool, and right in the corners I blued it up a bit, or put Dicom on. Wanted it to have a little bit of wiggle, and I just teetered around just in the corners. Happy days. So, taking off this head's heavy, so we're going to use a machine block so we can rotate the head. We've got gib on that side, so we're going to rotate it anti-clockwise. As I do that, there she goes. And putting it on is the opposite of this, but you really want it supported, because this is heavy and it's an accurate fit. There you go. So that's a good tight fit. Now when this turns around, there you go, you can see that it had the same keyway that was on the knucklehead, but someone's just cut this down, so they've attacked this to fit the slot. So I'm going to put this down flat before it decides to fall over. Alright, so there's your slotting head. It's been the same as this, and this has been butchered to fit. But anyway, not me, but it works, it's fine. But rather than hacking that to pieces, and rather than reusing this, which engages the dogs, we're taking the dogs out. That sits on there. Quite a nice fit. Alright, that sits on there, and that'll then engage from there onto there. So, happy days. Next up, I'll locate these 4 screws, machine screw, well, cap head screws. This could be floating as the machine's running, but I don't want it banging around making a noise and possibly scuffing the machine. So there'll be 4 bolts holding that bob solid. That's your knucklehead ring. And that's the ring for the slotting head. And they are different. You can see a bigger bore for your slotting head, so you can't run a slotting head on the knucklehead ring. You have to have this special ring for the knucklehead. There will be a spacer so when I bought the machine, this spacer was just bolted loose. So what I'm going to do is re-drill the holes, sort out the diameter, and then I'll attach that to the back of this. Because the extra length of the spindle on this knucklehead brings it right off. And that's no bad thing because it gives me an extra bit of cutting depth. So I'm happy with that. There might have been originally a deep one of these. I don't know if this is original to the machine. Couldn't tell you. Anyway, on that happy note, and before long I'll have my knucklehead back on. Slotting shed guy gone.